Hello everyone, welcome to a new series on my channel where I'm going to recommend you a few movies each month. These are mostly going to be newer movies or lesser known movies, but I will also be doing some well-known and popular movies. The Long Walk, directed by Francis Lawrence and written by J.T. Molnar, with Stephen King being the original writer. This is a fairly new movie that I finally got to watch. I've never read the book that it was based on, but the concept of the film sounded right up my alley. I love this battle royale type of content like Hunger Games, Squid Game, and Alice in Borderland. Luckily for me, this movie is directed by Francis Lawrence, the director of all the Hunger Games movies, except for the last one. You can really tell that Lawrence shines in this type of genre, and this is definitely my favorite movie of his so far. The concept is relatively simple. 50 guys go on a long walk with a set of rules. If you break a rule, you die. The last one standing wins. A simple concept like this has to rely on its characters, and it does so extremely well. When 50 people go on a tough challenge like this, you're bound to get friendships, drama, laughter, cries, everything, every emotion that exists. The actors in this movie are mostly newer actors as far as I'm aware, with one very big exception being Mark Hamill, but he is not one of the walkers. The actors did an exceptional job, and the emotion felt very raw and on point. You know, how do you make your viewers scared of a gunshot if they have seen so many deaths with guns over the decades in movies and series? Every gunshot and every death, you live through it by the actors, and they did such a phenomenal job, and the way that it's written, directed, and acted is such a good combination. You always feel that threat of death like luring over their shoulders. At any time in the movie, it can be over for anyone. The conversations, the fear, everything blended so well together, and it's such an emotional ride, one that's definitely worth riding. I gave this movie 4.5 stars. Sick Piqué, or Sick of Myself, directed and written by Christopher Borgli. I watched this film because I like Dream Scenario and I wanted to know what the director had for other movies. Although I felt some of his style in this film, it was very different. Sick of Myself follows the story of Signe. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Signe is constantly overshadowed by her boyfriend's rise to fame. That fame being art made with stolen furniture. Her being overshadowed drives her to find some crazy ways to get attention for herself. It's an amazing slice of life film that may feel a bit slow for some, but if you're into slice of life films, I can highly recommend it. It's a movie that tackles extreme narcissism, and Signe becomes someone that's so desperate for attention and will lie to extreme measures just to get more of it. The acting is great, the practical effects and the makeup felt very natural, and it blended into the story very well. You know, given with the story that they made, it was very necessary for the makeup to work, and they did an amazing job with that. I gave this movie 4.5 stars. Kamere Otomirona, or One Cut of the Dead, written and directed by Shinichiro Ueda and originally written by Ryoichi Wada. One Cut of the Dead is a zombie horror movie like no other. It does something extremely smart that I've personally never seen before, and unfortunately I can't tell you what it is, otherwise the magic of it will be gone, but I'll just give you a hint. It has to do with the way the story is told, not about the story itself inherently. At first glance, you're following a low-budget production of a zombie horror movie, but soon after that the short film is over and the movie transforms into something totally different. The first part of the movie is a little hard to get through unless you really like low-budget films, but I will say even if it's low budget, the practical effects are really fun and creative, and for me that makes it worth watching, even, you know, the first part before everything turns into a total different movie. This movie just shows the fact that genres will never be done innovating. There's always something new that you can do. The final act is what seals the deal on this film, and that's why I would highly recommend it. I gave it 4 stars. Showing Up, directed by Kelly Reichardt and written by Kelly Reichardt and Jonathan Raymond. I decided to put another slice of life film on here because slice of life is just my jam. I really like slice of life films. And in this movie we follow Lizzie, a sculptor, an artist, and someone who's having a very important exhibition soon. And we follow her life leading up to that exhibition. We get to know her friends, her neighbor, her family, her workmates, everyone who's involved in her day-to-day life and day-to-day struggles. Some characters being a part of the struggles, others trying to help her overcome those struggles. It's just a very nice human movie. It makes you feel seen. Not much crazy happens. It's very grounded, and it's just super pleasing to listen and watch to. If you like ASMR, then this movie will probably be your jam as well. I gave it 3.5 stars. And that was the end of my recommendations for this month. Let me know if you're going to watch any. I'm going to recommend another 5 next month. They're going to be based off what I watched between now and then. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!